This podcast contains some magical adult language. Listener discretion is advised. And sorry, Mom.
I'm going to Disney World. I'm going to...
Whoa. You're not Mickey Mouse, you're a rat.
Rat smack! Besides, they're tourists. What do they know?
Welcome to Rat Castle, a progressive chat about Disney magic without the pixie dust. I'm the glorious and wonderful Nathan Hartman. I don't know, I felt very confident about saying that. I don't know why. I feel very empowered today. I don't know. I don't think anyone else was going to say it. So
You gotta say it for yourself. You gotta support yourself.
I'm feeling very empowered
Love
today.
yourself, Nathan.
You know, sometimes the world is so hard for people like me, and I just think it's important that I feel empowered.
Wait.
Hold on. So you can see we're getting goofy already on this podcast, everybody. Anyway, today Dave is sadly not with us. He is off creating literal magic, probably of the Batman variety, so we're allowed to let that happen. Of course, if you don't know, check out his Instagrams and his Twitters. He's working on his Gotham AR stuff and other awesome projects, so he's not able to be with us tonight. But we have an esteemed panel who is as excellent and miraculous and wonderful as I am, even more so, one might say. And those include Janine.
Hello.
Victoria.
Hello.
And Sarah.
Hi.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this wonderful episode. We have some fun stuff to bring to you, and we're going to start in, of course, the good old Sunshine State with a kind of a themed board about a collapsing hotel has collapsed. Janine, tell us a little bit about a nostalgia trap that is getting people upset because it's gone.
Yeah, I can kind of relate to that. But the Tower of Terror pseudo lifelike billboard that was on the highway.
Pseudo lifelike.
I have a story for that. I have
Okay.
a story. I'll get to that. But it's got like a little elevator of people that like
Yes.
wave, and it's like
They wiggle. They're not
they
waving. They're
wiggle.
screaming. They're
Yeah,
going,
okay,
ah.
that's fine.
They're
Um,
going,
Yes. So it's been there since I was a kid.
Yes, true. It's been
And
forever.
they announced that it was coming down, and then immediately, no hesitation, ripped that sucker down.
Yes.
but where
I
was
ha-
that energy for Tron? Like,
It's a lot easier to knock something down than
So
put it
quick to
up.
take everything down.
Yeah. Let's not. Yes. Disney, the Walt Disney Company, easier to knock things down than to put things up. That is
Yep.
their current
Yeah.
motto.
Yeah, look at Epcot.
Yeah. Good
So
Christ.
it's weird because like no other ride really has a standalone permanent
No.
billboard like that. It was a bit weird. I'm a little sad that it's gone because I have a very fond memory of that. When I was a kid, we were taking my grandma to somewhere in Disney, I guess, and I remember her pointing at it and saying, "Well, where's the line? How do you get on?" Oh, she thought that was it. But then I was telling that story throughout my life, and I realized, oh my God, she was fucking with me.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
I told that story for 20 years before that clicked that, like, oh, wait, no, it's not dumb grandma.
No, it's
It's
dumb
dumb
Janine.
me.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's always dumb Janine. How did it take? It's just goes to tell you, you know?
how
It
the
does.
turns tables.
Exactly. So yeah, that the billboard structure is gone.
It's gone.
Yep. I don't think they're
Poof.
putting anything there. It's just.
I thought they said it was just going to be landscaping, which is boring.
Is
That's
it
a
even
weird.
going to be landscaping? It's just grass.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Or
grass.
it's just grass.
Yeah,
It's
I mean-
fancy for grass.
Yeah, we use the term landscaping instead of just saying, well, it's just going to be grass, which is it's like you're not going to put a bush there. It's like this is the memorial bush for the sign.
Was Tower of Terror the only ride that had a billboard?
Muppet Vision had one.
Well, that's
Oh,
been there
yeah.
that long, I should say.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's been there that
okay.
long.
Yeah. I mean, there's
No.
like I think in the legendary billboard section, I think of the classic Universal ones that everyone saw in the 90s with like the ET finger and
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the Bugs Life one.
the Bugs Life one lasted a long time. But
did.
those were all off property. This was one of the few that was on property that I don't know why it was there so long.
It's very
I think
strange.
It's really
And then
weird
it
that lasted
was
as long as it
barely
did.
working.
Oh,
yeah,
it
it stopped for a while.
It moves?
I've only
Yeah, it
ever
was
seen it
supposed
work
to.
twice in my life.
I think they
It's
fixed it
supposed
at
to
one
move.
point pretty recently in the last
Yes.
year, and then
It was dead a long time, and it's
Yeah.
funny because it's like I think I don't want to, I'm going to speculate, but I'm going to assume the reason is the same as the reason we lost Primeval Whirl, which is like they
Mm.
just don't make parts for it anymore. like whatever thing that makes that board wiggle is like from the 90s, and that manufacturer is gone. Like it's this weird thing because it's not a hard.
That makes sense.
It's not one of those things that should be that difficult to fix. But that thing was down all the time.
It's kind of sad that it's going away though, because it's so unique and different, and just so
Yeah.
like it's like why is it there? But that's what makes it really nice and
Mhm.
like
It's
really cool to look at.
charming.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing there. The drive is so boring.
If it had gone away like 5 years after the ride opened, we wouldn't have blinked an eye. It's just that they
We
left
wouldn't.
it. And that's the weird thing. That's the thing I think is like the only like the legacy status of a lot of stuff at Disney is, can you stay around and be ignored by corporate long enough that people form nostalgia to you, and then they take you away because that's an obviously like sane decision, but people like lose their minds, like they just like flamethrowered like the Carousel of Progress or something. Like it's just like it's not a
Yeah.
huge deal. It's just a sign, but people do put a lot to it, and it's
They
a
do.
strange it's a strange thing about Disney is like you just leave a thing long enough, right? Like if I glued a quarter to somewhere in Disney Springs and like just kind of whispered about it on Twitter, like I bet in a year people would be like, did you go see the quarter? Like there's a quarter that's glued to the
Not even just that,
in
there'll
this-
be like merch for it on Etsy.
Yeah.
100%.
The low key though,
Yeah.
I kind of want you to do it.
Yeah,
Glue
me too.
glue a
Maybe go find
quarter.
a place and glue a quarter.
That is now my challenge for you. Like, do it near the
Okay.
little water fountain thing where you gotta turn it. Like, do it there.
Do it there. Man, you're making me do it right in the spotlight.
Yeah. Well,
There are
that's you-
cameras.
but you just get a crowd of kids around you and just like.
I could just say there's a quarter. I don't even have to do it, really. Like, you just got to
That's
say it long
true.
enough, and people go, I didn't see it last time I was there, but I'll keep looking. Anyway, on to real
Just
things
like
we
gaslight
can-
the entire Disney community.
This is Inside the Magic. We're telling you all about the new great quarter you can find at Disney Springs.
Not that. Not
Yeah.
this.
So anyway, let's talk about things you can locate now. Janine, what can you now locate at Disney, or
Well-
soon, I suppose?
If the technology works, your car.
So no.
Yeah. If it
So
runs
no.
like the My Disney Experience app, I don't know how much stock I'm personally putting into it, but State Farm and Disney have partnered to bring a car locator service to the My Disney Experience and Disneyland apps to help people find their cars in their enormous parking lots. It's pretty exciting. I've lost my car at Hollywood Studios. It was very, and I'm not even kidding, traumatic. I wish I had that.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. I'm just imagining her going around the parking lot with the key, just like tears in hand, popcorn bucket.
we
There
get
were
it, you
tears.
Anaheim people.
They were not
It's
my
a-
tears.
You have like a small garage that you all hang out
Hey,
in.
we have two, okay?
Okay.
Two garages.
Ooh, they got two.
They got
got
two
two.
garages.
I have
And a-
definitely lost my car in a parking garage because there were two similar parking garages,
Mhm.
and I exhaustively searched the wrong parking garage.
Been there, done that. Universal. So yeah, this is interesting. I've had that cold sweat when I come back from a day at the park and go, I didn't take a photo. But I imagine you still have to do something in the app to make it happen.
I wonder, like, because if you have
Oh,
to
yeah,
do
so
something, I
do.
just don't see the
I feel like we were
value.
gonna forget.
Yeah.
So what you gotta do is when you go in there, you have to have your Bluetooth, your location service, and the app on.
Yeah, like a good neighbor, State Farm is going to collect your information. Thank you, Disney.
Yeah.
Um, if you don't think that I'm right about that, you're crazy.
Yeah.
They want to know
No.
who has the income now to still go to Disney World. Yeah.
So,
Fair.
like, is it gonna give you the general idea of where your car is, or will it give you a specific spot number?
I think
So-
how it's gonna work is it's gonna ask for certain information about your car and then use the Bluetooth and location services to help you locate it once you turn
mean,
it back
they-
on as
they
you're leaving the
have-
park.
Like a little mock-up, and it says like Aladdin lot, row 206. So
Okay.
I don't think it's like the Apple, this is where you parked, here's a pin on the map. I think it tells you your row.
I
And if
think
it's
it
just
tells
like
you
a
your row.
glorified enter your row.
Yeah. You know what also would tell me my row? Better stuff that would tell me stuff like on the road, because all the
Yes.
paint is, and then they always go through like yearly and redo the parking lots. I know they get a lot of traction, but they'll have a number and it's like we have it at the end and we have it in the middle. And if you're anywhere in between that acre and a half, you're gonna have to wait till you get to the,
The
other
acre.
end to see what it is. And you've already forgotten. You're already mid conversation. I still don't know how the parking lot works at Epcot because they have literally one sign when you leave Epcot and it's like I don't know, Wonders and Creations is this way, and Farts and Burps are this way, or whatever. I don't know what they're called. And like you're just sort of like, okay, like, but which one? Like, how?
I know I
it's
parked
just-
in Discover, but where is Discover? Like there's like a mile
Exactly.
between Discover and Create.
You
and
know
there's just
what?
no
I
rhyme or
never even
reason.
thought about that. Like
Yeah.
to this day, I do not know how Epcot's parking lot works.
No.
And
I still get
they
lost in it.
And they changed Hollywood Studios
Yes.
too.
Yes.
Right.
So,
The thing about Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom is they're small enough parking lots that if you have a general idea and an emergency like thing on your car or a beep thing, you'll find it. Like it's not super
I beg to
difficult.
differ.
Well,
oh, I'm fucked. I got a 2004, so I'm screwed.
well, how can you afford Disney anyway with a 2004?
That's because she drives
For
a
real, we got
2004.
priorities, girl.
That's true. That's true. So anyway, that is a car locator. Sarah, I hate to bring this up, but I think we should do it for the sake of the audience and for yourself. You could use a car locator. Your car has
I need
been
a call.
stolen.
Do you need to put a
Yeah.
call out to
That was what I'm
people in
talking about.
LA?
I need a car locator in Orange County ASAP today. Like when I was talking to the cop, because this is what I was thinking. All
Hang
these
on,
cameras.
people
To
don't
be
know.
clear, what happened?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Right.
So I wake up 7 a.m. I'm like, oh, I got a meeting at 8 o'clock. Let me go to Starbucks and get a coffee. So I go, key in hand, y'all. Key in hand. I go outside to where I usually park my car. This is the one day that I did not park it in the garage. So I was like, okay, I go outside. I'm looking at where I parked my car and I thought that I was crazy. I was like, did somebody move my car? Am I crazy? Like, what happened? And so I go ask everybody that was in my house. Nobody touched my car. Nobody knew where it was.
Right.
It just vanished. No glass on the ground, no nothing. It was just gone. Like, I don't even know what to say.
Gone in 60 seconds.
Just gone. And I went around like looking for all the cameras, looking for neighbors who might have seen something. Nobody, it literally vanished. Like it just disappeared.
May I ask a
And-
question though? I
Yeah.
think this is pertinent. Do you have a Herbie? Did this car go off and find love?
I don't know. I
Is
hope
it-
so.
Does it have its own soul?
I don't
given to
know.
it by
I feel
its
like
creator?
it got up and walked away. I don't know what happened. It just disappeared. Like I don't know how they opened the door. I don't know how they got the car to start.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Well,
cops.
anyways,
use
if
this-
you're in Orange County
yeah,
and you see what kind of car is it?
it's a Kia Optima 2015 black. If you see it, call the cops.
Call the cops. I don't
Or
care.
call me.
if
Every
first.
black Kia Optima
Everybody.
you see in LA.
We're putting out. This is like the Warriors. Warriors, everyone, Papas, listen. We're putting out the call.
Yeah.
A reference, man. If you get that. Okay. So anyway, there's no good transition between Sarah's Herbie car has left to find love in France, and the next segment. Oh, maybe a little bit. It went to France to find mimes because they're now all in France.
Now, why would you do that?
I don't know. That was a bad transition, but Janine, why don't you finish off Disney World by telling us how we have lost? Well, we don't know if we're losing, but they're no longer on the schedule. Several different entertainment options.
Yeah, a lot of live entertainment stuff has seemingly either gotten the axe or just gotten a lot more hard to find. No park was spared, as best I can tell. Actually, Animal Kingdom was spared. Nothing was killed from Animal Kingdom, it looks
It's
like.
hard to take more away from Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, there's not
nothing.
Yeah, what do they
Like,
have?
what do they have? I'm looking at this list right now, and to be fair, we kind of already knew Galactic Spectacular was gone.
Can we start with that? Because that's not an actor thing. That's like a performance entertainment option.
Yeah,
And I loved it.
I loved it too.
I
I
loved
did
it.
not like it.
Why? Explain.
Well,
It
you
was-
have bad
I thought it
taste.
was boring.
Well, there were times where it was better, I think. It got kind of like
Like it's
muddled
weird.
down
I
in
remember
new
there
movie
being
stuff.
a Star Wars fireworks show when it first came out.
Right.
And I remember they had the projection mapping, and I thought it was the coolest thing.
Mhm.
And then I went back like maybe a year or so later and was just like, wait, this is not the same thing. I don't know
No.
what changed. I wasn't keeping up with Disney stuff as closely as I am now. I don't know. Did it change? Did they change it? Because
They added a
way
solo
more
segment,
underwhelming.
and they added a Last Jedi segment, and they added a Rise of Skywalker segment. I think it just got a little long in the tooth.
Yeah,
Um,
it got really long.
Yeah,
so I can
that was
see
kind
it
of the
being
problem.
exhausting.
Yeah,
But
I
that
wasn't into
lightsaber
it.
ending when that was cool. I liked that a lot. But anyway, I'm sad about that. So beyond entertainment, of course, we have lost also people, or at least they're not going to do their thing anymore, or they're getting put somewhere else. I don't know. So Janine, can you tell us who we may be losing performer wise? At least they're
Yeah.
not on the schedule anymore.
Absolutely. So in Magic Kingdom, we've lost some pretty big ones, in my opinion. The Main Street Trolley Show is no longer on the schedule, which is really crushing.
Yeah.
It hurts my feelings.
I think some people are also going to be really upset to see that Meeting Alice in Wonderland at the Mad Tea Party is no longer on the schedule, as well as Gaston near his tavern, who is like Disney viral video meet.
Yeah.
That's wild to me that that's gone. And then also Tinkerbell at the Town Square Theater, which is especially strange because that's like there's infrastructure for that. So
Well, I thought Minnie was moving into where Tinkerbell was.
I think,
So,
I think Minnie's moving in there. Actually, all of these make sense to me in some way.
Okay, explain.
Like Alice already meets in Epcot, so she's not gone. She's just in
Roger.
a different part. Gaston keeps getting harassed by everybody, so
yeah, that's fair.
makes sense.
Yeah.
That has to be
And-
exhausting.
And like you said, I think Minnie's taking over Tink's spot,
Right.
and she's in a cavalcade of her own, I think. So
Mm-hmm.
in a way, those make sense.
Yeah, the trolley show I think is just a lack of staffing because that's usually
I
just
think
parade
so,
people.
too.
That'll come back. I'm not too worried. Weirdly, I'm not worried about these necessarily.
Yep, it's the next batch that I'm.
It's
Yeah.
the next batch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Epcot just got a shot to the knee. So some of Epcot's most what is the word? My brain just totally went out. Just
Respected.
respected, like genuine stuff that you're like, wow, these are really talented performances. The Jeweled Dragon acrobats in China are no longer on the schedule, as well as the Serveur Amusant in France. Both are like, that's the guy who like stacks the chairs and the wine bottles, and like
Yeah.
they do really fascinating stuff that draws a crowd and always draws a crowd.
Yes.
I
100%.
yeah, they're not on the schedule anymore. I don't.
And the concern, of course, for any Epcot performers not being is like they're not, and no tea, no shade, no pink lemonade to normal cast members, but these are usually unique performers that aren't rotated
They're
out.
like highly skilled
Yeah.
artisans.
Very much
You know,
so.
like this is their career path. Like they've made like genuine, highly specialized, highly trained career choices that led them
Right.
here. And it's like, what are they doing now? Are they going to State Farm and
State
running tech
Farm.
support for their car locator app?
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Well, has
Maurice
Epcot
is working for State Farm now with his whistle.
Maurice from State Farm. Has Epcot recovered from the hiring freeze that they were having, or like for
I'm
Oh,
not
for international?
sure.
Not international. No, the international is still getting there. By the way, everyone, I'm sure you're thinking about it because Food and Wine has just started. Janine and I will be going this next weekend, so we will come back next episode with the big old Food and Wine thoughts.
Ooh, I need the
I'm sad.
review.
We'll give you some reviews. But yeah, these people are I don't know. I sort of think there's always interesting reasons for this. The Jewel Dragon acrobats, it could be a visa thing, like it's a group opposed to
True.
a couple
That's
people.
true.
The French entertainers literally could just be going on vacation for like a month. like I mean it just because they're off the schedule doesn't 100% mean they're gone, but it's still always worrisome because we didn't think we were ever going to get those Japanese drummers back. I didn't think
I didn't think
I
they were
didn't-
going to.
I was really concerned. But my
Yeah.
question is, why is it always Epcot first that gets like shot in the kneecaps? It's
We have
always
a
Epcot.
lot. We have a lot at Epcot, in my opinion.
there's a
when it
lot of
comes to entertainment.
variables. I feel like there's a lot of things that can go wrong because, like you mentioned, whenever it comes to like with international performers,
Yeah.
their visas, like their work,
True.
like it could be anything that, and like Janine was saying, they're like highly skilled people. You can't just like have a casting call and just hire someone very quickly to fill that
Right.
spot. Once you like
True.
lose someone on the team, it's over.
So yes, this is of course issues that we are having, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get some of these people back. But oddly enough, something might be coming back over at Disneyland. Sarah, what is the rumor that persists, I should say, all the time, but maybe
Yeah.
has a little more legs than normal?
So there has been a very, very strong rumor lately that we'll be getting back the People Mover over in Disneyland. So there has been talks of this Tomorrowland overhaul for years and years, and I don't know if it's gonna happen.
Years and
Mostly.
years.
Desperately needs it.
Desperately, our Tomorrowland is it's like in
it's
shambles.
Dire.
Honestly, the Tomorrowland as a whole in any park is just an issue.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
really is. But I think when it comes to Disneyland, Tomorrowland, and I've said this before, it's very sticky. I don't know how else to describe it other
Yeah.
than just that.
Yep.
We need
Sarah, the future is sticky.
It is. It kind of is. But this time, like when we always hear the rumor of the People Mover coming back, it's consistently been talked about. But there have been very prominent people in the Disney community making actual videos on it and saying, like we have Offhand Disney, Fresh Baked. They've reported on this rumor as well. There was an Imagineer who posted a video of the standing behind the monorail and having something to do with the People Mover. Not exactly sure what that's about. But so the rumor basically consists of the People Mover will be coming back, and the announcement will happen during D23 in September, and it will be remade, same track, just cheaper parts, kind of changing the ride system a little bit to make it better. I don't know how that's going to work because there's a lot
better
of
than
cracks.
rocket rods.
Well,
It's not
I was
hard.
waiting for
rocket
someone to
ro-
say rocket rods. I was waiting.
Speaking of rocket rods, that wrecked the entire track.
Yeah.
Like the foundation is awful. Like it could. Some people say it could fall at any minute. So I don't know if that's true, but yeah. So we're hoping to see something from this rumor. Hopefully, it's true. We kind of just have to wait until D23 to see if there's any like actual things to
Right.
this. I don't know.
I mean,
I'm-
I hope you guys don't get it because I like having that over you.
No,
I mean,
we need the people mover. I really think we need it. It's bad. Like
You
we
really
have
do.
horrible traffic
You
flow.
do. You need something that sucks people up, and
We really do, yeah.
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 So
I
I don't
see
know.
it happening. I really don't.
Oh,
You really
the
don't?
pessimist.
I really don't. Like, first off, do you see how long it's taken to build Tron? And that's a carbon copy. You want to build
Mhm.
something from the ground up?
And
Yeah.
I don't see.
take
I
things
don't see
down.
shape and take things down. I don't see
Yeah.
Shape Pack doing it.
Especially with Tomorrowland, because we have Launch Bay. It's not even used. I think they just
Right.
opened up a section of
Yeah,
it for
they-
Darth Vader. So a Darth Vader
Exactly.
meet and greet. So
Well, and let's
our
not
Tomorrowland.
let's not use Launch Bay for any sort of people mover thing. That
Oh
needs to be
yeah,
a-
I forgot.
That needs
that
to be a
needs to-
circle show again.
Yeah.
Bring back America Sings or something, some sort of because that's the same building, right? Is that
It's
the way
the same building, but it's haunted.
Yeah,
For
oh,
real.
it's true. It's haunted.
Yeah. So I don't know about that one, but we'll
I
see.
want to know about that one.
Have
Oh, you don't
been
know about
here?
the haunting?
Oh, you don't know
No.
about Deborah? You don't know about poor Deborah?
Damn, by name, you gonna say her name 3 times like that?
She
Oh,
deserves
man.
respect. Deborah
Yeah.
deserves respect.
Well, I have to bring this jovial chat. It's like when at a party someone asks about someone you know who's already passed, and you're like, oh, okay. Well, everyone sober up for a second. I don't remember when this was. Was this the 80s or earlier?
I think it
this-
was the 70s.
It would have been America Sings era, but a cast member passed away via accident inside of the Circle Theater because it's exactly like the Carousel of Progress, but before they had collapsible walls. So yeah,
okay.
as
Yeah.
you can imagine, you
Mhm.
could
Yep,
get
pretty rough.
stuck, and
Yeah.
that is what occurred. So
Okay.
that is sort of a. It is really only since America, and that did not close America Sings. Just so we're clear, that
No,
had
it
nothing
would
to do
never-
with it.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
But America Sings continued for a while, and then it was, I don't know, it's been all sorts of stuff, including its own version of Interventions for a while, and just all sorts of things. So there's the story. If you did not know, now
Yeah.
go to bed and whoa. Okay. Moving on from that. Speaking of, oh god, this transition. Speaking of one thing that has passed, and now talking about another thing that's about to pass.
Ooh.
Is it though? Is it though? Because I'm also
And
It
may
is gonna
rise
come
again.
back.
Whoa.
The thing that never dies. It never
The
goes
song that-
away.
literally the song that never ends.
Yeah.
It just won't. It needs to go away. Honestly, it's okay. So Disneyland Forever and the Main Street Electrical Parade will be going away in September. Allegedly.
Sure, Jan. Sure,
I don't
Jan.
know. Okay, Main Street Electrical Parade, love it, but it's tired. I'm tired of it. I don't want to see it anymore.
Send
I
it
don't care.
here.
Y'all
Yes,
can have it.
please.
I want
can take it. I want Magic Happens ASAP today. I don't care how they make it work.
It literally died before it could live.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 whole weeks.
2 whole weeks. And it was like the best parade that I have ever seen. The floats stunning in the daytime and in the nighttime. It's beautiful. The characters look beautiful. Obviously, my queen, Princess Tiana, was on there. She had her own float. It was like we need Magic Happens. Like I couldn't care less about Main Street Electrical Parade.
Bro,
The
I'll
weird
even
thing is-
take Paint the Night. I'll even take that.
Right?
Mm.
Paint the night as a party. Main Street Electrical Parade, the music just hurts my ears. I don't like that like the
the Moog
The Moog
synthesizer.
synth- Is it
Oh,
Moog
I-
or Moog?
I don't know if I
don't
think I've
know.
always called it Moog, but I've heard it pronounced both ways. I love it.
It hurts my
love
it too.
ears.
Yeah, I love that. I have like a collection of Moog
Yeah.
vinyl records. That is
But yeah, so Main Street Electrical Parade, the weird thing about it is that they spent all that money on the new float and it's already going away. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes. It's never going away.
it's
It'll be
probably
back.
temporary. No, they have so much
Probably.
merch out for it right now.
Yeah.
There's
Bro,
no
Yeah.
Isn't it weird?
way.
They
we
literally
just
bring
gotta
the parade
restock.
back every 30 seconds. That
Yeah.
it'll be back. I guarantee you it'll be back literally
back.
in February.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's like that ex-girlfriend, this is always like, no, she gonna be back.
She's
gonna
for
be
sure.
back.
It's so toxic, but
It's
it just
real
works
toxic.
somehow.
So anyway, you know how it is. You know how it is when you're dating a parade. So moving on to international news, we're gonna go back to Paris because Avengers Campus over at the much needed Studios Paris has opened. The preview, I watched some videos of the preview.
It feels complete. It looks very complete,
It
and I
does
like
look
that.
good. There's some.
I mean, there's an e-ticket ride there,
Mhm.
so you know they
Yeah,
got
what's
that
that
going
like?
for 'em.
For real.
No, technically the e-ticket here got here before the whole land. But
What is their
let's-
e-ticket?
Their e-ticket, of
uh,
course, is Flight Force. It's just their rock and roller coaster, but it's been rethemed to Iron Man and Captain Marvel fighting something. I can't tell, but
I
they're
can't
shooting
tell
lasers.
either.
And it's really weird because Brie Larson is doing the part and speaking English, but because it's Iron Man, you can't see him. All of a sudden, it's like Brie Larson's like, "Come on, Tony, get to this thing," and then Tony's like, and you're just like, "I don't."
so silly.
Weird.
It's so silly how he sounds
Sorry,
in French. I'm
I
sorry.
don't want to offend our French listeners, but it's just
Sorry,
strange to
French
hear Tony.
people.
It's just hard to hear Tony Stark with a very thick French accent. But yeah, it's just rock and roller coaster. But it's, I don't know. I was kind of not impressed, to be honest. Did everyone else get a chance to look at the video ride through?
I got a look at some of the footage. Are we talking about the campus as a whole or Flight Force?
Flight Force specifically.
Flight Force, I couldn't tell what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, once you
so-
get the queue has a pretty neat
Like, the
animatronic
queue
Iron
was
Man.
cute.
The animatronic looks pretty good.
But
Oh, it
even-
looks phenomenal.
yeah, but outside of the animatronic, the queue looks very like bare.
It
didn't seem
does.
like
It
there's not a lot.
does.
But even on the ride, like I saw the ride throughs, the POVs, it looked very similar. And you guys can tell me if I'm wrong because I haven't been on Cosmic Rewind. It looked very similar. The projections on there.
I got
But
more
that's just from the
hyperspace
POV.
mountain vibes than
I got hyperspace
okay.
too.
I can
Yeah.
see that. I can see that.
I
It
agree with
felt
that.
it felt like there wasn't the space or the room to do the, I'm trying to think of the term for what they do in Cosmic Rewind. The thing you don't know about Cosmic Rewind until you get in it, and we could be
Mhm.
ignorant because we are, as you probably guessed at this point, none of us are in France, so we've not ridden this. But Cosmic screens are really big, like IMAX size big, or at least they feel
Bigger
that way
than
when you're in
that,
there.
I
They're
think.
huge. But
It
these all felt-
genuinely feels like you're in space.
yeah, and there's
Hmm.
like there's star mapping and stuff. It was weird to me that this didn't have any of that star mapping. This all, I mean, it's supposed to be in space clearly, but it was very like that hyperspace mountain vibe of like space is black, and then we are going to project on these like small areas that we have, like very specific things, and that's all we can really do.
And the projections didn't seem clear.
Yeah, the projections. I couldn't tell if it was the videos.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's really tough.
It's hard
Yeah.
to, yeah, it's hard.
But
But-
I mean, I
yeah.
mean that's the problem is you can watch any I think any screen oriented thing is really tough to gauge until you're on it. But at the same time, I don't know, B minus maybe for a refurb. It just didn't feel like much. It felt like that's what they had, and they kind of figured it out. I did like the drone show though, the Avengers Assembled drone show. I thought it was kind of neat. What are you guys' thoughts about the drone show if you got a chance to look at it?
I loved it. It's just
Yeah.
I wish it was only for media. It reminds me of, do you guys remember when New Fantasyland opened and they had the dragon fly over?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
But they never did it again because it was just for media. I'm like, you're
Yeah.
gonna put all this money into this.
I don't understand the media thing where they give them a different product than
Yeah.
you can ever
Right.
get.
Then the consumer, like it makes
like,
no
what's
sense
the
to
point?
me.
Like, oh, that's so
No.
good for.
It's a total waste of money because they don't.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're not going to give them a bad review. They're already on the media list. Like that's the whole
Yeah.
point of being on the media list. They got to go for free. So you don't need to give them those extra things. I think about
So it's
how we got
not
those.
permanent?
I mean, not
No,
that,
it was only for the event.
yeah, which is strange because that's a lot of work. But it's one of those things that you see and you're like, it'd be cool. People really want drone shows. I think
I
drone
like them.
shows, they're really unstable. As
Mhm.
someone who flew a drone, as much as it's now digital and figured out, winds can just be a real nightmare.
Oh yeah.
And that can make things
True.
really tricky. I did like it though. They did that thing where Doctor Strange moves his hand and
Yeah.
that becomes the big portal using the drones. I thought, man, that's so cool. And I kind of wanted to see more interactive stuff like that. I'd like to see the drones in a show. I think the cool thing would be for an Avengers type evening show is not to be fireworks or entertainment show or drone show by itself, but just be a live stunt show thing and combine all of those into a nighttime thing. So Thor lifts his hammer and then all the drones do a big lightning effect, that sort of showcases, use drones and pyrotechnics and fireworks in a way
Tell
that
a
sort
story.
of tell a little story at the end of the day.
Like this
opposed
is
to
not
just,
really like it has no narrative. It's just little icons of like
they just kind
literally
of
little icons.
they
clip
come
art.
out to their icon and everyone goes,
Yeah.
"Yay,
Yeah.
Spider-Man!"
Yeah.
And that's cool. But you're right, it's one of those
It
things we'll
just-
probably never see.
Avengers Campus in DCA is it's very difficult when it comes to the shows, because when they do their little stunt show, it's so hard to see the angle of the building. It's just like impossible. Like you'll maybe like see a little Black Widow up there, but
Yeah.
you won't get like a good view. So I don't know how a show would work for us here, but Avengers Campus definitely needs something, because during the day you have the Spider-Man stunt-tronic thing, but then at nighttime it's very dead. There's not a lot going on in the area. You can see maybe one or two superheroes here and there, but there's just not much around that time.
Yeah.
I feel like it needs an e-ticket ride.
I mean, like an
Yeah,
Avengers-based e-ticket ride or something.
Like an Avengers-based
I don't-
e-ticket ride.
It's
Yeah.
almost as if they didn't have the building already there. I don't know. You know,
Side note though, what's up with that?
I don't think it's happening, y'all.
They don't need to right now. People are going. So
Yeah.
I'll tell you exactly what it's going to be. Is you need something over there that's going to get people. I don't think Mario World's going to be big enough to make that big of a dent. It'll be a thing, but it's not going to make a dent. I mean,
Right.
what's weird is if it was flipped, right? The Universals were different. Epic Universe would be 100% the reason they'd have an Avengers e-ticket. Like, but that's not a problem they have in California. So we'll see.
They've
We
just
have
been doing a lot of these phased openings, and
Yeah.
I don't like it because
No.
it just feels
not at
very
all.
incomplete. I'd rather have a full land that you can go to, and I understand their business strategy on it. It's just as a fan, it just does not feel like it's worth it, and like I'd
Yeah.
rather just go when they have everything.
Like I'm a fan, and I went like last year, and I went, and it did feel very disjointed, but it's just like the only thing I could see myself wanting to like immediately go there at that point is if it's like a character that's like, how they do the thing where they
Yeah.
add a
Yeah.
character from a recent show, but that only really benefits locals, and they keep those characters
True.
only for a certain amount of time.
Yeah. Which stinks because it's cool. I don't even think Moon Knight's there anymore. Like,
Nope.
so anyway, so there you go. That's some Avengers Campus in Wonderful France. But we're going to move on to other, I don't even know if I'm going to call this interesting news. Victoria, who's getting a big bonus for doing nothing?
Not me.
I wish it was me.
I heard that.
Guess I get to deliver all the bad news this episode. First Deborah, now this. But so R.I.P. Deborah. But Bob Chapek, it got his contract extended for 3 more years. So originally we were hoping he would get kicked out February, but the board decided, nah, we need more money. So he's gonna be here for 3 more years until
yeah.
2025. Not only that, he got a $20 million bonus, and I believe that's going to be annually.
And that's like I think
Damn.
the minimum. Like it,
And that's what-
it can be more.
Yeah.
It says it's not
Yeah,
less
Because
than
his
$20 million a
salaries,
year.
his
It's
salary is
low.
what, 3?
I think it's
his
2.5.
base-
His base salary, it says 2.5. It has not changed, but his long-term incentive award included in the contract has increased from 15 million annually to not less than 20 million annually.
Ugh.
This is why he's
Unbelievable.
cost cutting. I swear he's like, let me cost cut so that they have enough money for my bonus at the end of the year. That's why he's doing all this.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he
Nice
done
little check.
fired everybody, so I guess he could.
Yeah, there's money left over.
There's but not enough for an e-ticket attraction at DCA, not enough to get food going through the Pim Kitchen at Disneyland Paris, not enough for Tron to get done. I don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone gets to wait around except for him. I just don't get it. I don't know why he wants the job. I literally don't understand it. I mean, I guess money, but
I mean, money. I guess.
everyone
Everybody,
dislikes
yeah.
him. Like, why would you want this job? Like, I don't. But I don't understand.
Shareholders like him.
Shareholders.
like,
no,
does
they
he
don't.
know?
The
Certain
shareholders don't?
shareholders do. Right.
Okay.
I mean, people are making money, but people
Yeah.
understand. But I feel like there are some shareholders that really understand kind
Yeah.
of the specifics about, like the kind of the long term.
Yeah, and they're not
know,
just looking for next
degradation.
quarter. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
Mhm.
I'm excited to hear the earnings call.
Is that coming up?
August, I believe, right?
it's like it's like you go to the place where everybody doesn't like you, people don't like you, and you still show up. You still want to, like, why would you want to do that as as a regular human being? Like,
Every
why?
day.
I think there's something to be said about $20 million a year.
Yeah, but we really think he can't get another job? Like, I feel like
Oh,
he'll
100%.
he can
Oh,
go
that's-
somewhere
He could totally
else.
get another job.
He
Yeah.
could have a cushier lobby job
Yeah.
that gives him
Oh,
that
yeah.
all he's got to do is like 2 months in DC a year, and he'll make 10 million.
For real.
How much more do you need? I could live on 20 million for the rest of my life.
I'm confused. What justified the increase in the bonus? That's what I honestly want
That's
to
why.
know.
I think it's just a normal procedure, right? It's like business as usual. You know, I mean, generally, if you get a contract extension, they up something. But God, I mean, it's just not a good time for this kind of thing. And also, you know, eat the rich. Anyway, somebody also disagrees with, and may we say regrets, Victoria, Bob Chapek?
The girls are fighting.
The girls are fighting.
So excited. I shouldn't be, but like when I heard this, I really got so excited. It was hilarious. It was so funny to me. So Business Insider put out an article, which I did a free trial to read because I'm nosy. But
Because
I
you're
am
that
so
bitch. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
am so nosy.
yeah.
So
Must do
Business
it.
Insider said
I love how you're
Well-
dying right now because you just know it's such good tea. You're just like, I can't wait to tell you. Like, I can't wait. You've been waiting all week just to come and
it's
tell
so
everybody.
funny. It's so funny, yo. I've been waiting for this article. So Iger, sources close to Iger basically stated that he feels that the biggest regret of his career as far as being a CEO with Disney was appointing Chapek.
Oof.
We knew this. We were just waiting for him to know that.
Yeah.
But and it was just certain pieces of the article basically stated, like, you know, he was there trying to make sure he was okay, but at the end of the day, he was a novice and he's just like slacking on everything. The don't say gay situation came
Right.
up.
Everything that was like
Yeah.
softball stuff for Iger.
Mhm.
Chapek just really struck out every single time.
Every single time he just
Yeah.
struck out.
Because
Like,
they were
I don't even-
suggesting like, weren't they like, I mean, they were like, well, let's tiptoe this. We'll make him what was it, like COO or something? Like it was another kind of
Yeah.
like semi position. And Iger was like, no. Like, I'm not gonna like pussyfoot around. Like he's in charge. And like, boy, I probably should have had that buffer zone just to like test the waters. But this ain't news that
I
this
think
is
the
news that you
pandemic
don't.
affected it.
Yeah, for sure. And this is not news that you let leak. Like sources say, like this is Iger's 100% saying like, okay, like let people know.
Oh yeah, because the end of the article, I was like, oh yeah, he want everybody to know.
Yeah.
Pretty much, he was just like, I'm giving best wishes and prayers to the Disney company. I still love Disney, and by the way, my book will be coming out soon. So I'm like, I will pre-order this book on Amazon, sir, if you are shitting on Chapek.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Like,
But-
yeah, for sure.
But there was an interesting tweet that I saw, which was from DSNY Newscast, and he retweeted the news and basically said, I had great respect for Bob Iger as he was the statesman CEO that Disney needed. But don't forget, he promoted a book about leadership, then left the CEO position amidst the greatest threat to the company. Iger's poor successor planning is the reason we got Chapek.
Right.
So I do feel like
Not
he
just a
should have
book. He did a
known-
master class on leadership.
damn.
did he?
He's
Yeah.
let me get my
Oh.
coin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
and I'm
so
gonna- I'm gonna
weird.
leave
What a
Disney. Yeah.
misjudgment.
It really is, and it's like we all if you've worked with Chapek for all these years, you know his personality. You know that he's not going to fit well with the Disney
Right.
community or just Disney fans or just the company in general. Like he doesn't have the sweater vibes.
No.
So, you know, like he doesn't have that. He doesn't have the just like let's sit by the campfire and whatever. So to me, like you should have known better. Like I
Yep.
don't know what
It's
Iger's
weird.
thoughts were. Like, oh my god, presidency! I want to run for president. I want to do this. I want to do
That's-
that.
well,
So maybe he just
Iger,
didn't
yeah.
see.
He
Yeah.
really
So,
wants to
yeah.
run for president.
He's putting himself in a good position, especially going after like a major CEO like Chapek. He's kind of, you know, putting his ducks in a row. But this definitely falls on him too. Like it really, I feel like a
Totally.
lot of us look at Iger fondly for a lot of the things that he did over the years, but I think this whole Chapek mess is on him.
I don't love Iger. Like I don't have a
mean-
disrespect, but he's not Eisner. Like
Yeah.
Eisner really transformed things, and then
Which
Frank
is
Wells
crazy
passed
because
away.
they're like
They're
their
close.
reputation is like mixed at the same time. Like I feel like Eisner doesn't get the same amount of like love and respect. A lot of the time he's like given a lot
I
of
feel like
scrutiny.
time is a factor with
Time
that,
is a
though.
factor.
I
I
think
think
time is a
Eisner
big
has gotten a
factor.
lot better reputation
Yeah.
after seeing what can come after. I mean, for anyone who's read James E. Stewart's Disney War, like Eisner had his issues for sure, especially after Frank Wells passed away.
Mhm.
And he made terrible hiring choices that affected the company.
Well, wasn't his strategy to like pit people against each other in the company and like
he
If
was
I recall, yes.
he was I
He
mean
was
he
doing Game
come
of Thrones.
yeah, he came from a Hollywood producer background. He had a real friction. He thought friction created kind of like the best playing field. And I don't think he's wrong. I think that he was picking people like Michael Ovitz, who were their own big personalities and immediately didn't work at all in the Disney company. Does that sound like anyone you know? Someone who just like is totally from a different background and then comes into Disney and doesn't fit at all. And you know, I would say he had his issues. Iger, but he let creative do what they want to do. Iger bought a lot of stuff. He was very much a TV guy and understood that model that intellectual property can really help. And I don't think he was bad, but you know,
I mean,
this is a pretty bad decision.
My comparison is this pretty much. And when I made this comparison to someone, it made sense to them. Remember the last election we had, and it was a choice between Trump and Biden?
Yeah, I remember. Like how it was
forgot
an
about
easy how it was an easy vote, but also one of those votes where you're like, what else am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. It's just like,
Yeah.
what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like, and I feel well, and now that I remember, the only reason we got Chapek, if I remember correctly, is because the CEO and whoever was after him left the company suddenly, right?
Well, he was in parks for I mean, he took over for Stags. I think there was someone between. I can't remember. There was a time period there where Iger was shuffling things pretty heavily, and you know, he is a marketing guy. He has a very specific background. I don't think he's been terrible for Disney Plus. I think that he's about to suck up. I saw a stat that showed that this wave of Marvel, you know how they kind of are waves. I think we're in wave 4 or whatever they call it.
Yeah, we're about to be out of phase 4.
Phase 4 has more content than the last 3 combined because of the TV shows. And I think we're getting tired. And I think that's going to end up becoming a real problem. Is he's very good at this streaming stuff, but they leaned hard on 2 franchises to hold up a whole streaming platform, and it's just
and that's gonna be a problem.
It's not going to hold forever. So I think the moment you see issues there, if they start having Netflix issues, Chapek's out the door pretty quick. So we'll see how Iger can affect things. He certainly would like to, but I don't know. Chapek is this interesting thing. Like it's very inside baseball, but you know, who would want a president who would hire someone like Bob Chapek? So I don't know. Not me.
Not
Anyway,
I.
let's talk about something a little more positive. Sarah, let's talk a little bit about Ms. Marvel. I believe Victoria, you watched all of it. I
Yes,
watched
I
all of it, and Sarah saw all of it. And
And I'll be your
Janine,
foil where you guys can tell me about the show. that I didn't
Janine is
watch.
very interested in checking out this thing called The Avengers. She hears a certain Robert Downey Jr. is a real funny guy. She's figuring it out. No, I'm being mean. Sarah, what are your thoughts overall when it comes to Ms. Marvel now that it has completed its season?
Miss Marvel to me, I rewatched it all yesterday again. It was very I, I feel like this show was everything that I wanted and more when I was a teenager. Like it was literally like it's a love letter to Muslim teens that are like just nerds. Like I think what's so great about this show is that I just felt very authentic on every front, whether it be explaining kind of like Gen Z, Pakistani culture, Muslim culture, Stan culture. Like it just had a lot of different elements to it that just blended so beautifully and just didn't feel boring or out of touch or like inaccessible. And just the way that the show was made, I know that there was a lot of people who were kind of going for it, saying that it gave them Disney Channel vibes, but I feel like it was very visually stimulating.
Oh yeah, it's
yeah.
the prettiest Marvel
absolutely.
show.
Beautiful. Like
Yeah.
it's the doodles, like that's such a cool way, like the way that they would show texting in the show, like
Yeah.
it was very, very creative. And it just had there was a part in the show that kind of went into the idea of jinn, which is kind of like it's pre-Islamic folklore, mythology, and it was so interesting how they blended that in, because whenever we think of the Marvel universe, I think it's very interesting how we don't ever see it outside of white culture,
Yeah.
and how that the whole idea of
You
different
mean Nordic gods? Yeah.
yeah,
The
like,
whitest culture.
yeah, literally. So you never see it, like how it plays into different cultures, and how this idea of multiple dimensions plays into a different culture. And the best way that Nani, who is Miss Marvel's grandmother, explained it to her was to relate it to something that she knew, which is a jinn, which is like a thing that the spiritual being that like a lot of Muslims grow up thinking about. So like the way that they kind of put that together was just like so perfect. And I think when it goes to Islamic culture and Pakistani culture, there was a lot of discourse within the community about how Miss Marvel isn't. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. My cat just went into the window. I'm gonna start that part over. So, so there was a lot of discourse when it came to how representative of the Muslim community is Miss Marvel. How is she? Is she the perfect example? Is she a good representation? Because there's 1.4 plus billion Muslims out there, and of course she's not going to be a clear representation of every single type of Muslim out there, but she was her own authentic specific type of Muslim or Pakistani teenager. Like she was just herself. It was very unapologetic in its expression in that. And there was so many different things where it came to like the gossiping aunties, or there was like the points where you had oh, she's never gonna get a husband. That is the main thing that you will hear for the rest of your life if you are a Muslim, North African, Arab, South Asian teen, a girl that's trying to do anything different. Oh, you're never gonna get a husband. And I loved how they used that, and it was just so natural. It felt normal. Like it was just a part of just the the vibe. It's the best way to explain it. And the way that they incorporated so many different things that I went through, like when I was a kid, like whenever you get sick, your mom was like throwing around Zamzam water on you, which is basically holy water, the evil eye. Like that's something that we constantly talk about. They had Wallah bros, which are like basically Muslim fuckboys. So you had all these little things that are so specific to the community. And I loved how they also included the partition, which is a huge point in history that not a lot of people know about.
Yeah.
That I just think that the way that they incorporated it into the show was just so beautiful and so true to the culture. And it just I have so much things that I want to say, and I don't want to like take up all the time.
I'm captivated for one.
It was just beautiful. It was beautiful. Like there were so many episodes where I was just like crying, because it was like I wish that I had this. Like I wish that I related to this on so many different levels. Even like Nakia and her struggle of trying to bring the mosque forward, and this idea of gendered mosques, and feeling like we always have these uncles that are just constantly talking over tea and coffee about politics. These men, whatever. But like seeing that she wants to like make change in the mosque and move forward, like, and just being hijabi and being just unapologetically herself. It wasn't even discussed. It was what it was. So it just made me so happy to see that, because you could just see Miss Marvel just going through the struggle of not being Pakistani enough, not being an American enough, but just being herself and just being so perfect in that. And I know that there was like a lot of things that the finale was just amazing, how they kind of are now moving her in to kind of, I don't really know exactly how this plays into like the Fantastic Four and stuff and the mutation stuff. That's too, Marvel-y for me.
Sure.
So I'll leave
answer
that
that.
part to you guys. Yeah, go ahead, Victoria, on that. But that was my little bit.
Oh. Well, it was all beautifully said. I love that it made such an impact for you.
Oh yeah, like it was just perfect. So I'm happy that we have something like that for all the Muslim teens, and I hope that they go ahead and check it out. It's a really good show, and it's so accessible. It made it very accessible to someone who just doesn't really understand the culture, the religion, or any of that type of stuff. It made, for the first time, I saw Islam represented in the way that it should be represented, which is a religion of peace and not violent. And I feel like we never see that, and to see it on such a huge scale.
You always see Muslim representation from the outside looking in.
Yeah,
Exactly.
This just felt so pure and authentic. Like it's everything that you like think that it should be.
So Victoria, what'd you think?
I absolutely loved how refreshing it is, but like to add on to what Sarah said, it also kind of reminded me of the fact that I love that we're getting Young Avengers, because essentially this is what is part of the setup. Like a lot of Young Avengers, a lot of setup for Miss Marvels based on the end credit scene. It also really was very enlightening. Like Sarah mentioned, like I had no idea about the partition, and it made me want to go and like research it and understand a little bit more about what exactly that was. Very unapologetic in itself. I love how it brought like a little bit of reality and made a lot of things normalized that we used to essentially demonize. It was really good, but from a comic book nerd perspective, it I was freaking out because now we officially gotten our first mutant. Kamala is the first mutant officially in the 616 universe, which is freaking amazing because we're getting that much closer to X-Men.
Literally getting a little theme from X-Men.
We get the theme every time, and I was like, Kevin Feige, I know a hint when I see one. Literally, I have it set up for when we're done, and I'm gonna watch the whole series again. But
and you're getting
like,
a new season of X-Men 97. So
I'm nerding out. So we got that. We got Miss Marvels. All of this to basically set up for Secret Wars, which is going to be the end game, I'm assuming, of this upcoming phase, which is basically going to include Deadpool, X-Men, the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, and they're just going to be battling it out. So overall, as far as Miss Marvel is concerned, I thought it was just beautifully done. I really think it was just it did kind of slow down for me in episode 3 slightly.
Okay,
but it picked back up. It picked back up for me.
I land a lot with what you guys say. I would say my biggest complaint, it was not at all anything to do with sort of the ambiance of the culture or anything like that. I will say this is slightly spoilery, so if you want to skip ahead a little bit, feel free to. I don't think it's super spoilery, but I think it's a little spoilery, so forewarned. All right, so here's what we're gonna say. I think it's weird to take your emotionally connected antagonist and kill them off in the penultimate episode and then have a whole other episode left. And basically kind of be like, I don't know, government Karen is now going to be the bad guy. Like I never cared about Damage Control. I never was worried about Damage Control. Damage Control, like, we know she's going to be an Avenger. And so the idea that Damage Control is going to do anything doesn't make any sense to me, because they're like overrided in like 2 seconds, you know, like
I sort of have a theory that why they did that, but I think it's going to have something to do with Secret Invasion. But at the same time, the way you said it, it doesn't make sense, because you had one person that was killed off and then all of a sudden it's Damage Control. It makes no sense.
I honestly think the show is better without the final episode. I think the emotional kind of, I feel like the last episode has some emotional conclusion. And like, I don't know, there's there's costume reveal, right? There's things like that.
Yeah.
But my two main issues was like, I don't buy this like government Karen who I thought was a real cardboard, and I'm not standing up for the white woman villain, but I am saying like she was like, oh, well, we don't want certain people to have powers, and the guy's like, what do you mean? She's like, I'm talking about kids. And I'm like, I know why you guys are putting this dialogue in here, is because she's supposed to be this like kind of like, you know, weird Karen, you're not sure, like,
the government surveillance like aspect of it. I think that's what they were trying to go for, because like she went into the mosque and the whole like, oh, take off your shoes, everything. But it's like I totally agree, because I really loved how the 5th episode where they were in Pakistan, and that whole fight scene and everything that was going on, it just felt like it could have concluded on Najma dying, like, and then her power thingies going into her son. And then that could have been, I think it would have ended good for me there, because then it would be like, okay, well, now we're on a little bit of a cliffhanger to where she kind of, it gives a little bit of room. But the final episode, it was out of nowhere. Like, I didn't know Damage Control was a thing up until like this.
I think it was supposed to be a show at one point, and then they canceled it.
Something like that. And then of course that
it was something like that.
That like lady gets, the thing is then that lady gets like fired. You know, she's like, they're like, don't do anything.
So
she's
it's
like, I'm gonna do it. And I'm like, why? Like, you're gonna get fired. And it doesn't make sense for her. Now, if they had some sort of in-credit scene where like Julia Louis-Dreyfus shows up and is like, I need you to run what I'm doing, and like, here's like, you know, the bad Captain America, and here's, you know, like, if there was a way to like take this character that seems sort of like good at organizing issues and doing something with her, fine. But we didn't get any of that. So like, I don't know why we're setting up this character that doesn't really seem to
and
be
she
around.
just gets ran off by the neighbors, and it's like, woo,
Yeah.
like it really was a giving like a Disney Channel movie ending.
They did
Like,
a Home Alone.
yeah.
The whole last episode's
Yeah.
a Home Alone in a high school.
Yeah.
Not
Like
Home
it's.
Alone.
I mean, it
It
is.
really
I mean,
was, yeah.
they literally do like, you know, they goop up people in the science room. Like it's, which is, I'm not
I
saying
thought it was kind of
hated it.
whimsical.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
it's
I thought
such
it
a
was
tone
cute.
shift. I think that's my thing is like the fifth episode and the sixth episode don't feel connected at all, like in tone and I mean literally in
Location,
place.
tone,
Yeah.
everything. Like it just felt, it didn't, it just, we had this really epic fight and all these different things in Pakistan, and now we're back in Jersey.
Yeah,
Like
you
it
go
just,
partition. It's hard to go from the partition
Yeah,
to
that
Jersey.
too.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because it was like the transition with that was so weird. Because I was like, oh, we're back in Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the
like,
and the popular girl is just in the high
randomly
school.
there.
just cool with it, like out of
that was
nowhere.
that was the worst. Like someone went, okay, we've planned this whole thing out and we need another person, and I know she's popular in the comic and we need to like have her, she needs to have this. And the moment she was like, we're stuck in the high school and like come in, like I just can see the writer's room of like, okay, we need all the neighbors to get here real quick, so everyone follows the popular high school girl on TikTok,
Which is so weird.
Nobody's parents follows the high school girl on
Yeah.
TikTok. Like it's just not a reality. And I don't know. Again, I feel like I'm crapping on I'm being nitpicky because the rest of it I thought was so solid and like so constructed well.
Yeah.
I have no issue with any of the acting necessarily. I think it's beautiful acting. I would say the mother does a real 180 in the fifth episode, when I kind of thought like,
I agree. I
There-
totally agree with you.
yeah, for as much friction as that was to kind of be like, okay, you're the one with the powers, like I'm gonna make you the suit.
It was heartwarming. It's like, it's nice to
Yeah.
see, but I
100%.
totally get it, because like I think we needed that. We still needed that tension between her and her mom, because
Yes.
again, it plays very heavily into the Pakistani like kind of storyline of
Yeah.
the mom being like, okay, let's focus on school, no boys,
And I
no
yeah.
parties.
But this is
And
what
I
happens.
assume that's what it was.
But this is what
Yeah.
happens when you already have a movie planned and you blah blah blah
True.
blah 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 blah. You
Yeah.
can't have a second season where the second season. This is a perfect second season moment of being like, she shouldn't even have found out in the first season that Kamala was.
It should have
miserable.
just been the grandma that came in and gave her the costume,
100%,
and something
yeah.
like that, not the
And
mom.
then you could
I
have that
agree.
time to
Mhm.
develop that and that trust
mean,
and working through it. But
and now that
but they
you
got to bring
say
in Brie
that-
Larson. You know, they got to go.
Which
Yeah.
was so weird. I don't
now that
still
you
don't get it. What were you
My
saying?
issue is with the format of how they do these Marvel shows. Like, why are we only getting like 6 episodes to
Yeah.
really build up the story? I feel like that's
30
not
minutes
enough.
too. Like
Right, like
without
well,
the credits, without the opening
right.
scene, 30 minutes
'Cause,
max.
Like, how do you really tell a story or give a hero an origin in 6 episodes? It's not realistic to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
so I don't.
it's wanting to take the time to flesh out a world, but not actually taking the time to flesh out the world. If that makes any sense.
Which makes
Yeah.
no sense because you're building a multiverse at this point.
Yeah.
And
So how do
let's-
And to be fair, they were 50-minute long episodes, just so we're clear. They were more than a half an hour, but still.
without the credits and the opening scene. and
Yeah, that's a
all
good
that,
point. Yeah, with all
Yeah,
the
that's
previous.
by
fair.
the time you
That's
get
fair.
there, but I think it's kind of funny because like I just know the next day, like Miss Marvel's identity would have been exposed by the aunties on WhatsApp. I'm sorry, it's exposed.
Well, her
Like,
costume's not exactly that. Like, it's like a little domino mask. Like, it's not.
for real,
Yeah, yeah.
I
I mean,
do like how
they still
she's-
act like they
yeah.
don't know who she is.
right?
Like,
Yeah.
Which is so funny. It's
Yeah.
actually out of the comic book that they did that. Like, several things from there they took straight out of the comic book, and I appreciated that.
yeah. So anyway, I think that's our thoughts on Miss Marvel. I really, I really enjoyed it, and I hope.
Ooh, I
to
do want
see
to
more of
add
that.
one
Please
thing.
go ahead.
I think I found it very interesting. Well, I'm very glad that they talked about the partition and the Muslim persecution that was happening at the time, and it's still happening today in India. It's very interesting that they call that out, but they completely forget about the Uyghur Muslims, how they
sure.
kind of ignored that. But that's all I want
Oh,
to say. So that's it.
I'm
We pick and
sure
choose.
that's just a complete oversight and nothing nefarious about that at all.
Anyway, we got to keep moving
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Really quickly, there's a amazing new docuseries coming out very, very, very soon to Disney Plus. Tell us a little bit about it, Sarah.
Yeah, so we're finally getting a docuseries on the ILM, Light and Magic. Is it a production company?
Industrial Light
special
Magic.
effects.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw the trailer and I'm genuinely excited to see that because I love when we have documentaries about how they made these really, really cool scenes or just rides or anything like that. So it's going to follow the beginning of the ILM to where they are now. And they've worked on essentially like almost every big project from the 80s, 90s forward. And I'm really excited to see how they did a lot of the Star Wars special effects because it's like those are just scenes that are crazy to see how like they just like the little miniature thingies and they were like, okay, boom. And then
Like a
it became a
shoestring
big
budget.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were just like a bunch of kids. So definitely excited. I like, what are your guys' thoughts? I really want to hear from Nathan too, because I know you're like in the film stuff. So.
I could not be more excited.
I'm
This
really
is
pumped.
I'm as excited about this as I was Imagineering. Because ILM is like
The
they've
gold standard.
always
Yeah.
like been the gold standard, and like I know because of the prequel Star Wars prequel DVDs and my obsession with watching all the special features on all of them, like names like of course I'm gonna blank now, but there's like plenty of people that show up in this documentary that I'm like, yeah, I know that person, I know this person, you know, like Dennis Murin and John Knoll, and like these people that, you know, go on. John Knoll goes on to make Photoshop, and you know, like there's just all these tangential connections with ILM. I mean, some people go and do Photoshop and Adobe, some people go and make Pixar. There's just all this stuff. I've always loved. I have a funny story about ILM. They had a special on Fox when I was growing up about ILM. I think it was like I don't know, like an anniversary special, like ILM turned 25 or 30 or something. And I don't know, but it was going to be about how they made all this stuff. And I'm so excited. And I had to go to church. And so, of course, we set the VHS tape. That VHS tape did not start, and I did not get to see the special. Right?
No.
Crushed child. But they're going to re-air it. So Nathan gets to watch it, right? Nathan sits down. Nathan is ready to watch. Title begins. And they interrupt with a news broadcast. And suddenly there is a white Bronco going down a highway.
No way.
It's true.
That's
OJ
insane.
Simpson ruining your childhood.
OJ Simpson out here ruining my childhood.
The personal
my
vendetta you must
God.
have and hold to this day.
Yeah. Man, I tell you what. No one hates OJ Simpson more than me. True
That
story.
made my night. That made my
So,
night.
Yeah. So am I excited to finally see a documentary about ILM? Yeah, I am.
Wait, so they never so they didn't re-air it a third time?
I mean,
that
maybe
night?
God,
Nothing?
this was the time when like something came on once and you were lucky to see
Yeah,
it
they-
again. Like
Oh
They
my
ever.
turned off the
God.
NBA finals
Yeah.
for OJ Simpson.
Yeah.
That's-
No
they were not.
way.
They literally turned the NBA finals off for OJ. They
That's
were not
nuts.
re-airing that special.
So I'm sure it's on like YouTube or something, but I don't even know what it'd be called. You know, it's like
You
I
have
have
to
figure out in my
watch
head.
it.
I
You
know, I know.
have to.
But
This is like a childhood dream at this point.
I know, but because it was OJ, it sort of like is better. You know, like
I
it's
wanna-
it's better to.
I'm on a mission to find it for you now. I'm gonna find it.
Yeah.
I know.
God
Oh,
damn it.
so-
Ruining my sweet Nathan's childhood.
Yeah.
For real.
Thanks, OJ.
Damn.
So anyway, I'm excited to say the least. Well, I'm gonna keep us moving on because going from
Please.
this is not a good transition. Going from
Oh God.
I don't even know if I
going
want to hear this.
from one man with a gun to several people with a gun.
Wait,
Janine
didn't
Ta-
OJ have a knife?
He had a knife, but
Allegedly.
allegedly. I should say
you know,
well,
he
he
was
wasn't
a-
fit.
allegedly.
You know,
He was
allegedly,
If the glove don't
acquitted.
fit.
he was acquitted.
If the
y'all.
glove
was
don't fit,
acquitted.
Yeah. Janine, who's now brandishing weapons on a theme park ride in Orlando.
From 150 feet above scores of people, it's you, it's me, it's the small child next to us.
Yes.
It's everyone. Everyone's getting
Yeah.
a gun, and we're getting elevated above people, and we're being instructed to point that gun at those people. It's a wildly inappropriate idea. I think it's bizarre.
What is it? Let's explain. Let's be very clear on what we're talking
sorry
about.
about that. Icon Park, the
Icon Park,
ride,
known for their Ferris wheel.
they're
and that's
one
about
to
it.
nine, and also killing that poor boy
Okay, wait.
a
Can
couple
we-
months ago.
Can someone tell me about that? Because I saw a lot of people talking about it, but I wasn't sure what was going on. So
So
recap.
So they have a drop tower. Well, they
Mhm.
did. I don't know if it's still there.
Largest
the
drop
That
tower?
was them.
That
Yeah,
was them.
yeah, that was
Yes.
them.
The one where the kid falls.
Yes.
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 Jeez.
Yeah, that was the same
Okay.
park.
Yep.
Oof.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Alright.
the same park that had a 14-year-old boy fall to his death on their ride is arming people on the London Eye with blasters and stashing little targets around their park for people
Like
to.
QR codes, right? Or something like
I don't know
that?
what they are.
I'm not sure what they are.
I'm really not. But for $5.95, you can
yeah.
find out. And
It's so cheap. Like
yeah, that
that's
is
such a
that
cheap.
is- that's
Well,
nothing's
like-
$5.95 anymore.
On addition to the cost of going on the London Eye.
Nonetheless, $5.95 for anything. But
It's not even gas.
yeah, so it's just you shoot targets while you're going around on the Ferris wheel. The Ferris wheel takes an hour to go around. How much time can you spend shooting targets?
I mean, it
Um,
is 50 targets.
Yeah.
To be
50?
fair.
Wow, that's
It's
I mean,
50.
I'm so enamored by the beauty of the Orlando skyline that I don't know how I would have the time to shoot at targets.
Yeah, second to none, truly.
Beautiful. Yeah, boy, there's
takes
this.
a
I wish
whole
photo-
Dave were here. He had
Yes,
some
he
really
would
good
be
Yeah, he
fine.
did.
insights on
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
But
This is, of course,
man,
if you see the
so
promo
tone
shot,
deaf.
it's two people that look like they're sort of holding mini paintball guns, I think is the best way to put it. This is, of course, there's no projectile of any kind. It's some sort of camera
Laser
that
or
captures.
something, yeah.
I don't even know if it's I don't even know. I don't think lasers would go that far. I think it's more
think
like you're
it's-
supposed. It's like
It
capturing.
says
it with the-
infrared, so I'm guessing
Maybe they are going
laser?
with infrared. So
That's what it says.
But anyways, you can now snipe. So that's not a problem. It's bad luck. Bad luck to say the least.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I wonder when did this got launched like a respectful few weeks after the Uvalde and other shootings. Like,
For
did they have
real.
to put like we gotta wait 2 weeks from the last mass shooting before we can launch our mass shooting simulation?
Oh, that's a
game?
small window in this country. You gotta really work it out. You gotta
It's
really.
just so tone deaf to me.
It
And
really
the people
is.
of that city are still dealing.
Yes.
Like literally, I think
Yeah.
the same day that they announced this, the footage came out of the officers dealing
Yeah.
with that situation.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
very same
That
day.
that might be part of why this is just coming across as
It's
not reading
just-
the room.
But
Yeah.
just in general, it's very. I think it's very stupid. I don't know who their PR team is. I don't know who's designing this. I think
I mean,
to-
would you want to be their PR team? I don't think anyone's their PR team anymore.
I don't even think they have a
Right?
PR team.
No.
I mean,
Like this was very.
at this point, hire Shapek.
Yeah, right.
Bro, he could do. At least he wouldn't do. I don't know if he would do something stupid like this, but like this is just unbelievably tone deaf and just like why for $5.95? It's literally not even anything special. Like, are they really gonna make money off of it like that? Is it really that important? Like, it just they're already dealing with something, and then to have done something like this, it's just like, let's just read the room. Like,
Like
it's just
Dave
common
said,
sense.
it's just sort of it's very uninspired, and they could have done
The
used the
blasters,
same
like,
mechanic
yeah.
and made it not a mass shooting simulator.
Yeah.
Like he I think he said something like a magic spyglass where you're doing like an I Spy thing or something like that. Like think about it a little bit more. You can make something that's fun, that's not this tone deaf, and so it's
But
just
you can't buy it from a Chinese supplier
yeah, that's
for $2 a
true.
weapon.
That's true.
And the weapons look so ridiculous.
They
They look like
do.
little Nerf guns. Like they're not.
Honestly,
It just doesn't. It makes sense. It doesn't feel like what's the point?
Yeah.
it's
It's
very
so stupid.
uninspired. Also, I just think it's really disrespectful to the victims, like just of Pulse.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
literally had a whole mass
Yeah.
shooting in
and
that
like a
very
big one, like 52 people.
right
Yeah.
down the street.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, it's so disrespectful to them.
Quick update, Icon Park has already decided to pause the game, and they plan to redesign it.
What is Icon Park if not disrespectful?
Fair.
On
valid.
that note, let's talk about things that can be respectful, and that is you rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. We would love a respectful review. We're doing good. We're doing okay on there. It's just not many, and we would love to have some more. And I think there's a couple that are sort of gut political reactions, a little low for no good reason. So if you like the show, please go and give us a rating. You don't even have to give it a review. If you give us a 5-star review, though, I will read it, or one of us will read it here on the show. But at the very least, just give us 5 stars. Do it real quick. We'll love you for it. And it just helps the ratings, helps people get to know the show. So a big call for that. But yeah, so this, ladies, thank you so much for joining me this episode. Dave, we are excited to have you back when work is a little less busy. And with that, Rat Castle is produced by me, yours truly, the wonderful and miraculous, or whatever I said at the beginning, Nathan Hartman. Please consider subscribing also so you don't miss any episodes, and please tell your friends. We're on all sorts of platforms, and if we're not on a platform you want, please let me know, or let us know. You can find us on Twitter, or you can find all of our links at ratcastle.podbean.com or bit.ly/ratcastle, where you can also send us questions. So please do that. Now grab your belongings and exit to the left.
Will you stop this foolishness?
What foolishness would you like to see?
Will you get out of here?